this today because I've never understood that. Like,
Identify.
where do I go? Okay, you know what? I decided today I identify as white. How does that sound? Where am I going? I'm white. I never met a mulatto slave that was free. I've never heard that story. As a matter of fact, being that my mother is the white parent, I wouldn't be alive because they killed those babies. That was the secret. They killed the black man slave and they suffocated the baby. And the white lady who had sex with a black slave, it was just a quiet little thing that they kept quiet. Now, if the mulatto slaves that lived were the ones where the slave master was raping the black women slaves, those were the ones that were. So I wouldn't even be alive. So what? I get the perceived privilege, but at the same time, you also have to understand it's a fight on both sides. So as soon as I hear, oh, you're getting this because you're light skinned, it's like, how? When? Why? Unless it's like Amanda said, this role was specifically written to be a stereotype. Other than that, I don't see it.
Well, I do think like there is something where, you know, when they had the videos back in the day, was the hip hop, like sound really old right now.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Hip hop videos.
Yeah,
Those
hip
are
hop
hip
videos.
hop
You know when
videos.
they used to have the hip hop videos
Mm-hmm.
with
MTV.
the girls, they used to have these thing light skinned girls, and it was this thing of they were the ones that were like, if you made it, you had like these light skinned hoochie mamas or whatever. in the
Oh yeah, I'm
video.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that that doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
So I
but
think that's
Amanda made that
where
point
that-
too.
yeah.
It's like you're getting the worst quality guy if that's his focus. Like, oh, you're better because you're light
Because
skinned.
the thing I love about
And
what
those videos
Amanda
weren't
always
great videos.
acknowledges is Amanda
They don't
acknowledges
find
that.
out.
that there are some things that she's aware of because
Yeah.
she's light skinned that she has, you know, she's just saying don't, you know, I'm addressing the colorism and saying it's bad for us. That's why she's always like, do not call 'em. She doesn't even like light skin jokes, which I love the fact that she shined a light on that because I don't even think most white people, not speaking for all white people, but I
Mhm.
don't think they really even know, they don't even care about us having these conversations. A lot of
The
times,
light skin,
it's
dark
such
skin
a black
argument.
on black
Yeah.
it's,
issue.
'cause they are
Yeah.
like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, we
You're
hate all
what?
of y'all.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I come in. Like, well, why I gotta fight you too? You know, because they hate all of us equally. But
Yeah.
when we were younger, you know, we go out, we all got called nigga and got rocks thrown at us by the white kids.
Indeed.
But then we get home and everybody's safe, and now oh, shut up, you think you better, you think you got better hair, the good hair thing. Oh, high yellow cracker, panda bear, zebra, you name it, I've been called it, Oreo cookie. You know, so it's like, oh wait, I thought we was just fighting over here. I gotta fight you too. I'm
I
tired.
do want to go back to Roy, since we have Roy.
Roy,
And
what's
we
your
were
fight?
focusing
You
on
in the middle.
Amanda's special. I want to focus on
Yeah,
your
With your
special.
brown self.
I want to focus on your special, which I watched last night, and it is it's wow. I mean, dude,
Well, thank you. man.
seriously, because it's your second one that you
Yes.
said you put out. It took you a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
And-
it still it cooked. It still pulled it out the oven too fast. But the nature of the contracts and everything, like with Comedy Central, it was something I wanted to get out sooner than later. It was kind of one of those situations where the way the contract was set up, it was basically I could either put it out now in like I could record it now in June, or it'll be another 8 to 9 months before I have a chance. And even then, it's not necessarily guaranteed. And I'm very much a bird in the hand ass type dude. So I just was like, no, we'll go ahead and do it now. I think I got enough.
Yeah, no day but
Do you
today.
think a lot? As I watched it, I was thinking at the same time. I was like, a lot of the stuff you're talking about is so necessary now. I don't know if like, you know, I mean, it'll be relevant for a while, but you're right on the everything you're saying is on the tip of the tongue of what everyone's talking about right now.
Thank you. Like I was trying to figure out what the hell people, because like I know Amanda's her turn time on her special was probably 3 months from tape to air. If I'm not mistaken, she taped in.
Yeah, mine I taped, and I'm still just finishing the color.
Yeah, and so you know, and I mean that's that HBO budget, man. God damn it.
Is that what that
I
is?
don't know. I guess.
And
Because I was
Yours.
like, why
Are
is
you
it
Comedy
taking
Central,
mine so
Marina?
long?
Comedy Central take
Your
my shit
Comedy
in
Central-
June.
Mine has to be sold.
Oh, okay.
So it's produced by a company, Comedy Dynamics.
Okay.
So it's totally different. Like what Amanda did is different from what I'm doing. So Amanda has HBO. I have Comedy Dynamics, who approached me and said they would produce it. So I have to do my own editing, really, and I have to look at the jokes to cut out and say this is good, this is not good, and then eventually they then send me, and then it's the cover photos. I pretty much do a lot of the work.
Yeah,
and it takes a long time.
It's like being an independent artist versus having a record deal in a weird way.
Right. Oh, I see.
Kind of have the network handling a lot of that editing and all of that color correction stuff for you.
And how did you come to decide to go with Comedy Central? Is it just because you had a multiple contract with like, first,
I'm already
second,
in bed with them with the
Okay.
Daily Show. We already got a sitcom pilot in the mix, so I.
So
could
you didn't
go
explore
somewhere
any
else.
other options. It's like
No,
this is home.
Because ultimately, if Comedy Central is going to give me more real estate than the Daily Show to make a name for myself, then I may as well do everything there. I'm also hoping
Right,
this
that
is
makes
not
sense.
happening on the network. So at that point, you're already 3 shows deep. So
Right.
go on do the comedy special here too. It's going to get better promotion. It's going to stay live longer, and I think that's something that, for me, when I look at Comedy Central versus Netflix or an HBO, Netflix is good on the front end, but as more stuff comes out, if you're not tracking well in the algorithm, you're not popping up in anyone else's feed for them to find
I was
you.
wondering about that. What do they do when that
Interesting.
happens? Do they take it off?
No, you're still there, but someone has to go and find you. And so much of Netflix is about people coming across it, stumbling, other people like this, make sure you watch this too. It's that shit. So I'm banking on enough people watching me and watching other people that I kind of keep rotating back to the top of the people also watch, user liked, whatever. Because once you get taken off of that, you're tougher to find. So for me, the ideology was, well, I'd rather be at Comedy Central. There's fewer motherfuckers doing hours, and I'm doing a lot more shit on the network. So you probably gonna put my shit up there at the top of the page.
Yeah.
And then people go, well, Netflix is global. You can tour
Yeah.
because Netflix is everywhere. Motherfucker, you know what the Daily Show contract is like? I can't go nowhere.
That's so. See, I like
Just
how
being real.
you broke it down. You really had to, because a lot of times when
Tour
I
in
think about
Europe,
these things,
when, bro?
I have
When?
no
When?
clue, like where to think where things would be best. I had Tracy Morgan go to put it on Hulu.
With no
point.
further
That's what he said to me.
explanation.
He goes, put your hour on Hulu. Netflix is not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
But that's a great point for people who are listening that don't know, because there's no blueprint in what we do, and you really have to, like Amanda was saying earlier too, you have to know what you want to do, what's best for you, have that narrow vision, and then ask questions and figure it
I
out.
also have to pose the question, I am still not sure how good Netflix is for lesser known black comedians.
Right.
And I'm just being real. And if you go dig in the crates and go look at all of the numerous hours that they've given to comics that are, I call them mid-majors. Like if it's baseball, I consider myself AAA. I don't think I'm a major league level black headliner that's doing arenas and theaters. I'm not.
Well, not arenas,
If we're
but
talking numbers, I'm not. Unless it's,
talent.
talent is fine, but Netflix don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
Netflix cares about
Right.
will people globally consume this product? And let's be real, Dr. King ain't marched everywhere. So ain't there so many black people you can put, and I could be wrong, but I'm just giving you an idea into my brain of what I was
it's making
thinking.
sense to me.
And also before I got the deal at the Daily Show, Netflix had already turned me down for an hour. So there had to be a reason for that beyond he's not funny, because half the jokes that I did in the hour special for Comedy Central was the same shit I sent to Netflix the year before.
Also has nothing, yeah.
So I don't know why, but me having juice on the Daily Show, which is a global brand, maybe that does give them more of a reason to maybe want to, but I just never explored the conversation. I was just happy where I am. So let's build here, because then I think I have an opportunity to produce and do other stuff and create opportunities for other comedians, because
Go where the
ultimately
love
that's the
is,
goal.
right?
That's it.
And what do you guys think, this, because you both have way more experience than me, and they have the quarter hours, the Netflix 15s. I don't know if they're still doing it, but a lot of people, I hear different things. Some people say, oh, that's a waste, it's a wash, don't do it.
I've
And
noticed some
say it's
people
great.
who've done an hour and their things haven't changed on Twitter.
Mm.
So like he was saying about Netflix, I don't know if a 15-minute one is helping. I mean, I've seen some people who've done the 15 minutes, and I haven't seen any change in the was it the algorithms? Is that what we're saying?
Well,
now?
if we're tracking Twitter followers and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but who knows what their ticket sales are on the road? If they're getting more engagement, it could be beneficial. Netflix did the 30s and the 15s because they had research that showed that most people only watch the first half of an hour special. So why keep doing hour specials when you do a bunch of 30s? So
I see. It's all
that was part of the
makes
reasoning,
sense.
and that's all algorithm based. It's not based on he's a brilliant comic, let's do more. And plus, there are certain comics that I think they fit that business model better than others. And I could be short selling myself, but I'm not going to jeopardize. I choose to not jeopardize what I feel like I have at Comedy Central, which is an opportunity to do things across all platforms, to go somewhere else to do one fucking thing and maybe sell tickets in Scotland.
Go where the love is.
Which I
It's
can't
so
fucking
important.
go to because Trevor Noah won't give us more than 2. 'Cause Trump won't shut the
Can we
fuck
talk
up.
about the Daily
Oh
Show?
my God.
How you have, it's how many years now?
3 years.
3 years. What's different now being on the Daily Show is from when you first started?
People take the jokes more seriously. Obama was still in office when we started. People forget that.
It's almost like, to me,
It seems so long ago.
people like the Daily Show, people are looking to comics for the truth in news. Like when I watch CNN for all these different things, I'm like, I don't know if I can believe them. Let me see what y'all talking about on the Daily Show, because and even SNL and stuff like that. I feel like comedians are giving the truth that you can't really see anywhere else, and it's almost like we are the new journalists. So it's almost making sense to me that it's comedians that are under attack right now as far as speech is concerned. I don't know if that was too deep.
No, that's real shit.
But that's how I'm seeing it. Like, why? Because I asked myself that. Why? You could just look at our president's timeline from 10 hours ago, let alone Kevin Hart's from 10 years ago, and get plenty of stuff to be upset about.
Right.
Why are comedians under attack? And I think it's because of what I just said. We are the real truth givers and the real journalists these
They
days.
shouldn't listen to me.
Except Marina.
They should
Everyone
not.
except Marina.
That's by the way I love about
But
your
you know what
hour.
I'm saying, though, Roy?
Back to
I don't know.
Roy hour. When you watch, you'll see this.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Is
the second one.
he's very and I do a little bit of, just so you know, a little bit of common with my hour too. Is this admitting to not being perfect at this time? Because this is the whole thing about being on the right side of history as far as comics go. Would you consider yourself to be on the right side of history as far as comedy?
Yeah, because I just told the truth and did my jokes. Like, the problem with the right side of history is that it changes.
What?
Everybody,
Yeah, I'm not understanding what
10 years
it
ago,
means by
that
the
joke
right
was
side
on the
of
right
history.
side of history. And now,
It's-
10 years later, that joke is not on the right side of history. How could you have done that joke?
Yeah, that doesn't.
All right,
That's,
so that oscillates. But in
Makes no
both moments,
sense.
you were being true to yourself. I think at the end of the day, you still have to have room to evolve and be the best person you can be. And this special, for where I am right now as a human being, is the best representation of what I am based on the information I've gathered through my matriculation through society. Now, if 10 years from now, y'all want to dig up this special and go, oh, you shouldn't have said blah, blah, blah about the police or black protest or Luke Cage, fine.
but that's
But do you
BS.
find that people
That's-
are looking, because when I watch your special, like I feel like, okay, like I feel like Roy is a good person. I know his heart, but he's also admitting to not knowing everything, which is wonderful for comedy. But do you feel like people now, and we've talked about this before, they're looking to you to be spokesperson, like
And
on
that's the
panels?
problem that we have with the Daily Show. That's what I mean by people take everything more seriously, is that now there's this investment, because so many people now, because they're in pain or angry, they look to news satire as a place for soothing. It's not like, the biggest difference is when I started the Daily Show, the compliment I get on the street was, hey, you guys are funny, whatever, I love it, it's funny. But the compliment now is, thank you for what you do.
Yeah.
Keep going. don't stop. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do different? I'm going to the writer's room writing the same jokes, but they're being absorbed differently. But you can't let that, what the joke means to someone else affect how you write or what you choose to talk about. You just have to go, this is what's right for me. And if somebody want to get mad, let them get mad.
And that's what I was saying about the whole BS of everything. Like, whatever you're talking about on your special, if 10 years from now or 10 days from now someone has an issue with it, so what? It's your experience. It's your truth. Who am I to tell you or you that your experience, your feeling, your perspective is wrong? You have it for a reason. And the only way you can grow is if you hear other people's perspectives.
Yeah,
Everybody's shutting down everybody's point of view.
Speaking of perspectives, thank you for bringing that up, Vaughn.
No problem. That's why you had me here today.
Yes,
Bring up
thank you.
perspectives.
Thank you, by the way. I really, because, we had someone drop out, and Vaughn was so nice to just show up and just be
You
here.
didn't need me, Marina.
I
you
do
did
need
great.
you. You're
No, you were
wonderful.
great.
I feel like, you're my support. So,
It's just that people.
the Gillette commercial. I know it's not in the, but we were talking about in the topics
yeah.
about
Perspective.
male
Hey, dude, stop
toxicity.
being rapey.
Is
Gillette.
it toxicity? How do I say it? Toxicity?
Toxicity.
How do you say toxic?
Toxicity?
Toxicity.
Just stop
Do you
being a
feel like
douche.
you can't be a man anymore?
No. Hey, full disclosure, I use Gillette razors and have for a very long time. It's just people want to get mad.
Do you have? When was the last time you've cried, Roy?
He's crying right now. Look at him.
You know what? On some real life shit, I haven't cried since the 6th grade.
What?
But movies.
Really?
Movies get me.
Oh, so you.
Movies. So the tears get out. Like the movie will touch on some real thing that I hadn't had a chance to think about, and then I'll insert my own self into that scenario. What did that happen? Man, that was really moving. Like Will Smith, Pursuit of Happiness, when he got the job. Yeah, I cried.
You cried.
That was one.
But
'Cause
not
I've
in
been
your
there.
own real life. You haven't cried since 6th grade.
On some legit, I'm in pain. Oh my god. Oh my god.
No.
No, you know what? 6th grade, and then 2003, I was in my car in the middle of Kentucky at 4 a.m. with not enough gas money to get home, and I had a cry in my car moment because I was wondering what the hell am I doing comedy. It was like a serious, frustrating cry. But I have never attached negative emotions with forward progress. And so the more bleak something becomes, the more obsessed I become with getting through it. So I tend to suppress that. I don't know if that makes me macho man. I'm trying to cry. I've never approached it like that. I've just seen, for me, negative emotions have just never helped anything.
I didn't get toxic macho man out of it, but I got, I got logic out of it, which is a male quality.
But,
not that women don't have logic, but we tend to be forward with our emotions and logic second, and men tend to be logic forward and emotions later. Tend to be.
Good that you put that in there.
Yeah, I'm
someone
good.
will
Yeah,
extrapolate that
that's
and
exactly
go,
why I
this
said
is what Vaughn said. Yeah,
that's exactly why
I got
said
into
it.
a serious argument with a woman friend, like on some, this might be the end of our friendship type shit, because she called me on some sad about something, and it was a problem that I felt had solutions. Mm-hmm. So in my brain, I go into solution mode. Let's do this. Yep. Have you tried this? Have you done? What I fucking need is just someone to sit here and be sad with. I don't fucking do sad. I don't know how. Like I literally, and I'm not even being funny right now. I literally don't know. Is this how I sit? Do I
how long have
put
you
my
been
head
friends with her?
on your shoulder? Like 8 years. So,
well, she should have known that you were not the person to call in that moment, because I would
well,
not
she was
call
trying
you.
to get it out of him. That's the thing, right? She just really wanted to.
That's why women have to stop trying to change men. Roy is exactly who he is right now, and
when
I
you're
can
ready
tell.
to talk solutions, call me, and I'm here, and we'll figure it out. But I don't know how to just sit and just
Yeah, that's what drives women crazy.
Yeah,
right?
stop trying to change.
Like, come on.
Yeah, you're not
Let's
changing.
prolong getting out of this by just absorbing it. What? No. I can't do that.
That's not what I do.
He has the most.
Do you think it's?
He has the strongest straight face emoji face right now. He's like just
Would you
no
say? Do
face
you think
emoji.
it's like harmful for you? Do you find like in some way the fact that you can't do sad, it's if you were to really think about it, like in crying, like, do you feel like that moment you cried back when you're like, you know what, that felt good, I need to do more of it to sort of make me a better
Not
person?
really. It never felt like that. But I think that's also I think for that to be true, we have to all agree as a society that crying is part of what you should do. It's like emotional cardio or something, that you should have sad moments. Or you can do what you can to change those moments, because there's also a lot of people that just like sitting in despair and don't pick themselves up by their bootstraps and try to change their existence. And I don't think
Pity party.
and they could both be detrimental, because conversely, I also don't do happy very well.
As you're
Straight
doing it.
face,
Yeah, I
you know
believe
what
it.
you're
Yeah.
It's, hey, let's keep it moving. We've done this.
Right.
I want to do what's next. Let's go tackle the next goal. And
Do you think that's like a defense mechanism? Like, let me not get too happy or too sad. I'm just going to stay right here, because life is a bunch of
I've always said
tragedy versus happy moments. Let's just stay right
the
here.
only way to curtail disappointment is to curtail anticipation. So I'm never let down. And I know that's largely a byproduct of just being in entertainment.
Yeah.
Where so many things you think, it did the
Yeah.
audition, I sent it to,
Yeah.
all right, this time, this going to be the one, my life going to change. Oh.
See, I don't do that anymore. I was like that at a point, like real excited, and then disappointment, and then sad, and all of that. So I'm trying, I've been learning to be more balanced. But what I find that I have to combat within that is becoming negative, because that's powerful too. Like in that, like going to a place where it's like thinking, oh, it's not gonna happen, so don't get happy. Whereas, the opposite of it, like, oh, I'm so excited, it's about to happen, nothing's happening, I'm sad. And then you go to the whole other end of that where I submitted it, whatever, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So finding that middle ground, have you always been there?
Pretty
Or
much.
you landed there?
Looks like he's
So my
always
Yeah.
father,
I was asking for the listeners.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, like, some people you can see they've always been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just in case someone
my
listening.
father died when I was 16. He died of prostate cancer, and I've always said this darkly. I've tried to say it on stage, it never works. The convenience of cancer is that you know someone is going to die, so you get to process it before the death. But then when they die, for me, it was like, oh, okay. I fucking went to school. The day my dad died, my brother called the crib at like 6:30 in the morning. He was in hospice at my brother's house. Called my mom. My mom was like, yeah, your daddy passed. All right. I don't put my clothes on. What the fuck to school? Because that's
Right.
school day. This
You're
is
right.
this is the
That's
process.
like when I took care of my dad in the hospital, and the day of the funeral, like, I wasn't like bawling, or my friends were, and I was like, well, okay, imagine how I feel, But it was just like, you're right. You process it before, if you have that time, and then it depends on the circumstance.
That's why I think pets are very integral to a child's growth, because it's the first thing that you can experience loss with, and it's kind of low stakes in terms of the long-term trauma of it. And I had 2 guinea pigs. I'm a thug.
Oh,
I used to have pet guinea pigs, and eventually they both died. And so that pretty much, I was like, oh, okay, this is how life works.
Before
I'm glad you
how
had
old were you
that
when that
nice-
happened?
4th grade, and then.
So it was before dad. Your
Yeah,
dad. Okay.
yeah.
I'm glad you had that. I had my grandmother's dog. His name was Kunta Kinte. And it was a
I'm
white.
leaving.
White, I
You
know.
just gonna cruise past that?
Exactly.
I can't say Kunta. I used to say Kunta, and then people would go, Marina, roll back. So I have to explain that it was Kunta Kinte, because I never thought anything of it. And then everyone's like, what did you just say? I said Kunta. When Kunta passed, no one told me. And I loved that dog. And that was my first moment. I was like 7, of really understanding death. And no one understood no one. And I had to, like, I said, Mom, I don't understand. Like, where does he go? Like, what's happened? I just really didn't understand it. You're right.
Yeah.
Like, pets will take you through that.
It's the only reason I would allow my son to have a dog, is so he can see it die. Which sounds insane. Go have happy moments with it. But when he dies, I'm going to come in the room like, all right, time for daddy to lay down what's happening here.
Time for death.
I just don't feel like you know, stewing in negative emotions, it just doesn't do anything. And living in negative, you know, by the same token, I don't argue. I don't. I'm not big on confrontations because confrontations beget negativity, and that's one of the biggest things I've been struggling with now is trying to, as you start working on projects that are more collaborative, you start butting heads, and it begats confrontation, and you have no choice but to be that. And I'm starting to understand now why a lot of leaders have to be assholes, because you almost have to be unemotional, and this is wrong. This is how we're doing it. Let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I've always appreciated that about you, by the way, because even in the beginning of the Daily Show, I remember we would talk and stuff, and you were like, this is difficult or this is tough, but you always had a very like, well, this is what I'm going to do about it, instead of like getting. I never saw you moping. You're not one of those comics that walks around. You're not bitter. You taking this moment and realizing what you have as an out. Like I've heard comics complain about, you know, there's comedy on Comedy Central, but Comedy Central is this, or Comedy Central may not be, Netflix may be the place, but you taking it, intellectualizing it, and saying, okay, and not getting emotional about it, but really.
There are plenty valid structural negative arguments that a comedian can make about taking a deal with another network other than Comedy Central. I wouldn't be able to say anything contrary. But this is where I am, and I can go, all right, I know how to make this work. And make it work.
Well, see, the way you did that is so, it's like not, like...
Yeah, and what makes sense for you isn't going to make sense for your path or my path or Amanda's path or whomever.
But it's such a great way to be, because for me, like even, you know, my hour hasn't been sold yet. You know, so I went through sort of like a defensive mode of like, you know, and then someone said to me, Marina, like, you're a great comic, like, your hour, we're just happy. I just can't wait to see it. I'm just excited to see it. I was like, oh, I forgot that part.
Yeah, so I went out to these networks. They said no, so now I'm self-producing. I shouldn't be self-producing. So-and-so got an hour, but you know what? You take it, and even if you self-producing and nobody buys it, now you take it, you strip it down to 3-minute increments, and then you flood the block periodically over the course of 2 months and build your draw that way. And at the end of the day, you're going out and you're selling tickets off of that, and if you're building your draw, then they come back around, and now they really gotta fucking pay because they passed on you the first go round.
I loved your special also in the way that when I saw you saying jokes, punchlines, addressing, there was a guy that stood up that looked like you saved his life with a punchline. Do you know that moment?
Yeah.
Did you say we got to keep that in?
Yeah.
Because he stood up and it was like church. Like he was like, yes! And I was like,
oh my goodness, that's
to Amanda's
wonderful.
point, I try to do stuff. I try to tell jokes that inform white people of a POV or something happening that they hadn't considered. And for black people, confirm what they've already been saying to their friends. So that a black person can just go, that's what the fuck I've been trying to tell you. And a white person go, wow, I never thought about it that way.
Well, that's the thing about your audience that I love the shots, by the way, is I feel like the audience, they look like they are being fed, like really well. Like really. Like I'm looking at that, like, there was this front row and I'm just looking at them like, thank you, brother. And I have to be honest, I was jealous. I was like, I'm gonna stop watching this right now. I was like, because it was it's just really, it's great, brilliant work.
Because you're that too. Be inspired. Like we're important people, and they don't have us in the world. You're saving lives. You're giving real perspectives. You know how important that is? With all the clusterfuck of BS in the world, and then people tune into Roy's special and go, that's it, right? That's what I was thinking. You know how important that is?
Like Martin Luther King. Has anyone ever told you that?
You're saving lives.
Have people told you that?
Somebody made a meme of me, of my face over Dr. King's body.
Oh my God, did you post it?
I should have posted it last week. I can't post it today because there's too many serious posts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna totally stop.
And then you're from Alabama, so it's like the whole thing. I've always been in the background. Like,
somebody put that in the Instagram comment. They said Roy Virginia looks like a civil rights leader from the '60s. Like, that's why I quit wearing suits.
Oh, okay.
No
so
bullshit.
Like,
When I first started, I was 19. I looked too young in the face, so a suit matured me, so that grown folks would take me seriously. But then people started saying I looked like Dr. King, so I had to switch over to bomber jackets. I'd wear a button down and roll the sleeves up, trying to look like a little college student. So yeah.
I was gonna ask Amanda if she
wow.
gets Angela Davis. Like she's like kind of has the Angela Davis quality.
She's got the energy
about
for
her.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Wow.
Well, I thank you.
Thank you.
Is there something that you want to tell the audience about your special and the takeaway that they?
I already said it.
Yeah.
You know, new information for black people and new information for white people, and letting black people know that they're not alone and feeling the way they feel.
Yes.
That's
beautiful.
And we'll do this in the Friends Like Us. So we're gonna go out on a check us out on what you're doing next and mention the airing. Just repeat it again for people who they have ADD and maybe draw whatever. But Marina Franklin here. I want to thank you so much. This was a really great episode of Friends Like Us. I was so excited and nervous because I was like, I just want to get all of the wonderful things that you guys are doing in the right way out there to our listeners, and I'm just excited for you. But Marina Franklin here. Yeah, my hour. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it's coming out. We just finished the color fix. I look like me.
It's scary at first. Like, ugh, that camera janky.
I know. I looked chalky at first, and then I was like, yeah, no, I look like me, and it's great, and I'm excited about it. So it is coming out. Don't worry, folks.
Yay.
And you can go to my website. Also, February 5th. I'm starting to work on my new material. It's going to take me a while, and I'm going through that phase too. So February 5th, new material at the Fab Black Pussycat. Come and check me out, marinafranklin.com. And with Friends Like Us, you can be inspired by your friends who are informing people as well.
Yes.
Amen. Me next?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm Von DeCarlo. You could go to vondecarlo.com for all links to my Instagram, Twitter, social media. I do not have an hour coming out.
No, but you have a lot of things.
I just did my first 45 minutes at Caroline's for their breakout comedy series thing that they're doing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I just did that last Tuesday. It was an amazing experience. I was very proud of myself. I loved it. I had a great time. But yeah, I do not have an hour special coming out. I aspire to get there, and I'm definitely doing the work, and I love comedy and the process of comedy. I respect it. I respect all of you guys. I'm very excited about all of your specials. I can't wait to see all of them, to get inspired and informed. We're important people. Yay! I'm going to be at Fat Black on Mike Yard show on Tuesday at... I forget what time. Next Tuesday, the 22nd.
Okay.
January 22nd. Yeah. So I'll be there
29th.
next week. And that's it right now for me. Just go to coachvon.com or vondecarlo.com. Don't forget to follow me on social media. And with Friends Like Us, you don't need toxic, light-skinned, feminine masculinity.
I love it. That was great. I was like, how do I wrap that up?
And I usually screw that part up.
No, that was
I'm very
good.
proud of that moment. Thank you.
I'm Roy Wood Jr. No S on the wood, please. @signinfront.com on the backside is everything that I am digitally. I have a 1 hour special Friday, January 25th, Comedy Central, 11 o'clock Eastern, or on the Comedy Central app, or you can bootleg it. Yeah, find it. That should be going up fast. That's when I really knew that white people fuck with me, because I'm on the bootleg sites.
Oh, sure.
Because
Really?
they don't put a lot of black content on the bootleg site. Like, you can't find Tyler Perry movie. Not the bootleg sites I go to.
Oh.
Yeah, they're very racist. These Asian bootleg sites are very racist.
Hey, Jay. And with Friends.
And to be fair, I can say it's Asian because there's a lot of fucking Mandarin on the page. So, okay, let me stop before I fall off a racial cliff and do all the hard work I've done on this podcast. With Friends Like Us, we don't need anybody telling us what our truth is, because your truth lies in your heart.
Ooh.
Amen.
Thank
I feel
you.
like I should sing a gospel.
And yeah. Amen. Oh,
That
and
was
we all-
Marina.
we all go out and check us out after I say 1, 2, three. 1, 2, 3.
Check
Check us
us
out.
Shit.
Thank you. And we're gonna do another picture in a boomerang. I forgot to do boomerang with Amanda. That would have
Oh,
been
I
fun.
love the boomerangs.
I just gotta pee real quick because I
I
had
know.
so much
I've been
coffee.
holding it forever. Hurry up, go.